Hello, good evening. My name is Aaron Fink. I'm with Transfiguring Adoption. Transfiguring Adoption is a nonprofit, and we nurture and grow, foster, and adoptive families by creating media and resources. And is anyone getting feedback right now? Is it echoey? Or is it,
yes.
Yeah, just in that. When it's echoey. Let's see. Is that better? That might be better. Again, my name is DeAnn. I'm with Transfiguring Adoption. Transfiguring Adoption is a nonprofit, and we nurture growth and foster and adoptive families by creating media and resources. We also say that we like to help kids by giving a hoot about their caregivers. So I have some great professionals with me tonight. We're going to be talking about when our partners don't agree about parenting. So it's going to be an interesting talk, I think, tonight. And hopefully we have some interesting questions that all of you are going to be giving us. Few housekeeping things, though, that I need to go over is, first is the fine print. This discussion panel is not meant to be used as legal or medical advice, nor should it be used as a replacement advice for what you're currently getting from a professional you're seeing or an agency you're working with. So all that to say is our intention is to help you with advice and suggestions and not feel alone in the world and on your journey with parenting. And please don't sue us. So, let's just get right there. The other thing that I want everyone to know about is our next panel is going to be in October 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are going to be talking about preparing for successful holidays. So that should be an interesting topic and a good one as everyone's preparing their little ones for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and they're having tough time remembering their bio family and just a lot of interesting emotions and things going on there. Yeah. So the last thing before I introduce the ladies that are with me is if you want to ask your questions, please use Facebook or Twitter. Use the hashtag #TAdopt. That's T as in Tom and adopt. Hashtag #TAdopt. Or you can comment here on YouTube and be watching that, or email us at info@transfiguringadoption.com. All right, and like I said, tonight's topic is going to be when partners don't agree. And of course we mean on parenting because we're transfiguring adoption and that's something that's near and dear to us. So, I asked before how to introduce you guys, but I have written down here as my first question. I basically have you guys introducing yourselves. So, I have Dr. Sabine Scoggins with me and DeAnn Jennette of Embrace Parent Solutions. So, first, I just want you guys can you tell us your names, a little bit about your profession and what you bring to the table today, and why we're so lucky to have you listening to you ladies tonight.
Okay. Yes, my name is Sabine Scoggins. I have a PhD in psychology with a major in behavioral medicine. I have worked pretty extensively with families who have taken in children in foster care, as well as families who have accepted children through adoption. And in addition, I have worked extensively in trauma recovery. I use among other techniques, EMDR, which is a neurological approach to intervention.
Very cool. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, my name is DeAnn Jennette, and my husband and I are adoptive parents, and we live in the Chicagoland area, and we work together in helping coach parents through Embrace Parent Solutions. We especially like to work with families, both mom and dad, since we are both mom and dad coaches. So we get to work with both parents to really help them get each of our unique perspectives. I'm also a certified parent educator through the Parents as Teachers organization, and I work with a local school system to provide education for parents with children birth to 5.
Very cool. I am so glad that both of you could be with us today because not only do you guys bring a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to the table, but without you, it would be me staring at everyone with not much to say. So, and plus, just so everyone knows, I am a foster adoptive father of 4, and I feel like all of these questions and things we're talking about tonight are partially for me. I'm there in the trenches with everyone else, and there are times when my wife and I don't agree on parenting, and it causes disagreements and those interesting discussions. We'll call them discussions. I was writing a blog the other day, and it was I described it as those discussions where you're pretty sure that the neighbors have heard and they're wondering if they need to call 911 or not. So, but just to have some fun before we get into some more serious questions, I'd like to ask you both some rapid fire questions. So I'm going to give you just a choice. So if I say favorite color, red or blue, without thinking, I just want you to tell me if red or blue is your favorite color. But the choices I'm going to be giving you, these all have to deal with things that your husband might do. And we need you to answer which option bothers you the most. I've got 4 and they're just fun ones. So who wants to go first? DeAnn, can I pick on you?
Go right ahead.
All right, DeAnn. No toilet paper or shavings in the sink. Which bothers you most?
Shavings in the sink.
Kiss with morning breath or stealing the covers?
Stealing the covers, for sure.
Schedules you for an event or bellyaches about attending event?
Bellyaches for attending an event.
Lets the kids stay up late or lets kids out of consequences?
Let the kids stay up late.
All right, that's your 4. Sabina?
Okay.
Leaves a red in the whites or leaves dirty clothes on the floor?
The first, leaves the red and the whites.
Lets kids have cake for breakfast or lets kids whistle in the house?
The cake.
Forget kids' doctor's appointment or lets kids play instead of doing homework?
Forgets the doctor's appointment.
And last one, doesn't get anything on the grocery list or impulsively buys new expensive toy?
Oh, the last one.
The expensive toy.
Yeah.
That's what Margie said too, and she also, for the schedules her for an event or me bellyaching about an event, she said she hates it when I bellyache about an event. So, and I do that quite often. So I'll admit that. Well, like I said, this could be a tense topic. It could be an interesting topic, but it's something I think that all people that are parenting in a partner situation are going to come up against at some point in time. That they have different ideas about parenting, and there's going to be an argument or a disagreement. So before we get into specific issues about caregivers and how they tend to disagree on things, as professionals, what do you both believe are some of the issues that caregivers are going to have here, and how do disagreements start?
You go ahead, DeAnn.
Well, it's interesting, as my husband and I have worked with many couples, it tends to be that one parent will see the child's behavior in a different light than the other. One parent will say that's not that big of a deal, while another parent might think that's a really big deal. And so I also tend to see many parents where one parent is very much wanting to do connected and connective parenting, and another parent wants to be very focused on adult-imposed consequences. And so these things then kind of tear at the heart of the parents as they try to figure out how to respond to the day-to-day behaviors and challenges, and even the good stuff, you know, going on in the home, because they begin to see it in a different light. The other thing that I think is that many times adoptive parents, even with the training and background that they have, will still tend to parent as they were parented. Even though we've all been trained that we know that kids from traumatic backgrounds need a different type of parenting, when you're in the heat of the moment, you tend to parent the way you remember seeing it and experiencing it in your life. And so when one parent has a very different experience growing up than the other parent, then you see that kind of conflict happen as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything that DeAnn was saying. I think in addition, and she was talking about that some parents are, you know, mom or dad want to be more emotional and more connecting, more attuned. The other side of this issue that I have seen is that, in my experience, that a lot of times mom tends to really want to connect on an emotional level, and really gets into this whole material about how to raise specifically children with these type of needs, and dad begins to withdraw more and more. And that's something that and that then becomes a really big issue, and then the marriage starts to really suffer. And when the marriage suffers, it's really detrimental for the children as well.
Yes.
So.
Okay. You know, one of the other things that I noticed, Darren, jumping off of that, you know, that I will sometimes see what looks somewhat like denial from one parent or another. And it tends to be the parent that is with the child at least, the least amount of time. And it is difficult for them to embrace what the other parent who's spending the majority of the caregiving time is experiencing. And they may not even see some of that because they are with them such a short period of time. So that also then really undermines their relationship and causes disagreements as well.
Yeah.
Huh. And I can definitely relate because I know at one point during our foster care journey, my wife Margie, she was homeschooling and a stay-at-home mother, and I was working all the time. So when I was home, things didn't seem as severe to me because I was coming home and seeing them fresh, where she had them staring in the face for 8 hours.
Yes.
But, I want to dive into, I actually found an interesting list that Good Housekeeping magazine put out last year, and it was a list of things that parents disagree on the most. And this was not for foster or adoptive parents, so we don't have the trauma pieces or anything else in there, just what do parents most disagree about. And I don't know if you would agree, but the number one issue was how to discipline children. And again, this was just for normal parenting. But what do you think about that? Do you agree that that would be the number one issue that partners are disagreeing on? And how do you come at that when you have different views on disciplining a child, especially a child that's coming from a trauma background?
I was just going to briefly say that usually you have, or maybe it's just my experience, so I apologize, but I see a lot that you have the good parent and you have the good cop and the bad cop. Mm-hmm. One that wants to set the boundaries and enforce the rules and works on all that. That's in, children that have not been traumatized. as well as the others, and then the other one who wants to be Santa Claus, wants to be on the good side, and so that can be a huge issue that definitely has to be resolved.
What I would say about that as I work with parents is one of the first things I do with parents is I actually have like a questionnaire that takes them through a series of questions that really gets at their history. Because like I said earlier, because very few of us we have some training usually if we come into this as an adoption world, but some adopted parents have very little, if any, training, depending on the agency that they've worked with. But they come in then without the tools they need in help to their history again. And so the place where I like to start is to say, let's talk about our histories. How did our parents handle conflict? How did our parents handle when you misbehaved? How close were you as a family? What kind of connectedness did you have with your family? And lots come out through those series of questions. And they can start to see, we make a lot of assumptions about what families look like. And we think that our partner is also having those same assumptions, has had that same experience. So then once our eyes are open to realizing that we come from different backgrounds and different experiences, then we can begin to say, how can we move forward with our own tools and our own philosophy and thoughts about how we're going to raise our trauma kids?
Yeah, I find a lot of parents that do not or are hesitant about allowing a consequence to happen so that the child has the possibility of learning from that experience, are individuals who were abused themselves, and so they swing toward the other direction. And I have to agree with DeAnn that it's really important to kind of understand yourself and know where you're coming from, and then kind of take the perspective, okay, in a way I have to make a new start because I have to respond to the needs of this child that's in my life now, and kind of shape my responses around that and the best, what is best for them, rather than what makes me feel good. Because not setting a consequence, for instance, might make me feel good, but might not be a good thing for that child.
Well, let me ask you a little bit of a follow-up. So, if my wife tells me, we have a powwow, we have a talk, we come to an agreement, I'm not going to be, disciplining in a way, like we come on more of an understanding. But in the heat of the moment, like you're talking about, I'm going to revert to the way I've been parented. And plus, I'm also, a lot of times in the heat of the moment, I'm dealing with a trauma trigger or something that maybe other parents are dealing with. And that exasperates me even more to it. So I feel like a higher level than other parents. So what do I do when I mess up, the powwow we talk just goes out the window, I revert back, and I'm just, I break it all, everything. What do I do?
DeAnn, I think that what we have learned about our kids is very applicable in our own lives. So we know that, in particular, our kids can easily become hijacked. Their brains can be hijacked by their amygdalas. The same is true for us as parents. And so one of the things that I try to encourage parents to do, and I'm working with a local school system right now to try to implement in the classroom and in families in the home, is to help parents be mindful of their own feelings and when their brains are getting hijacked by their amygdalas. And what do you do? What is it that's going to calm you and bring down those cortisol levels? Bring up oxytocin, so you can begin to think again from a prefrontal cortex so that you can make those wise decisions and use those tools that you guys have decided. You know, many times it's because we're not recognizing or embracing the fact that we're angry and our cortisol levels are up, and we need to calm down before we can do that. And so then finding those keys that can help us calm down in a minute.
Okay. And what do I need to do, I guess, after I've had a discussion with my wife and we've agreed on a way to discipline and how we're going to handle things, and I mess up? What do I do with her? Go further with that. What do I need to do with her? Is it just as simple as talking with her, or what do I mean, quite frankly, she's going to be upset that I broke everything I promised to do too.
So what do you guys usually do when you have a disagreement?
We usually talk it out until we're okay. Might be several hours.
That's what I would recommend, because it's crucial that you guys are on the same denominator.
Yeah. You know what, Darren, what we have found in our marriage is that we have to do a lot of admitting we were wrong. And here's a little trick that we learned that's kind of humorous, but I don't know if any of you remember the movie Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
But there's this one quote where he goes, "I was wrong, you were right, I'm not smart, you're really smart." You know, like he talks like this. And that is the way, because it's hard to admit, I was wrong. I did something wrong. And so my husband and I started using that as a way to bring up dopamine levels in our brain and allow us to use humor to say, I kind of messed up. And when that happens, then when you are able to come to your partner or your spouse and say, I messed up, it's very it's much easier for them to say, you know what, I forgive you and let's move on. Let's talk about what we could do differently the next time. We also do a lot of tag in, tag out in my family. Like, there are times when I just don't seem to have the resources within me on a certain day. And that's the day when I have to say to my husband, tag in, because I need a break, you know. No, that's not always possible when you're not both there, but it definitely is a strategy that I really encourage parents to feel like you are not always going to get this 100%. And the biggest thing, Darren, is that you have to be able to forgive yourself. And when you can forgive yourself for screwing up, then you also are able to tell your kids, man, Dad really messed that one up. Forgive me. You know, it creates a culture of respect, forgiveness, being willing to admit you're wrong. It really models to your kids what we want them to do in life and with us. So, I don't think we need to be afraid of messing up or, you know what we're going to do to fix it, as much as, then we can say, you know what, I messed it up. Maybe that's not working for us because I consistently am not doing this. Maybe we need to look at how to solve that problem another way.
Fantastic. And I'm going to jump in my questions here. Again, I'm going to just let our audience know if I'm getting a couple comments. If you want to ask your question, DeAnn and Sabine would love to answer some questions later on in our program, and you can ask questions to us by getting on Twitter or Facebook on the hashtag T as in Tom, adopt, but hashtag T adopt, or email me at info@transfiguringadoption.com. Or you can leave a comment here in this live YouTube feed, and I will be paying attention to those, and I'll get them over to these great gals with all the information and know-how. But I'm going to go ahead to my one of my final questions. We'll go back if I have time. So, an issue that was lower on this good housekeeping list was parents letting a child sleep in their bed. There's evidently a lot of parents disagree on that, and when they need to leave the nest, so to speak. Okay, so foster parents, they're not allowed, they don't have that option to do that. Adoptive parents, a different story. As far as I know, though, I believe when we were foster parents in Illinois, the children could sleep on the floor in our bedroom, or they could sleep outside our door. There's a school of thought, though, that children from traumatic backgrounds should be allowed to sleep in a parent's bedroom for that purpose. But again, going back to a way I know I was raised and a lot of other people were raised, was you get the kids out of the bed as quick as you can and don't let them back in, otherwise it'll become a habit. What is this an issue? How does it relate to foster adoptive parents? How should parents look at this and talk about it?
This is probably one of the hottest topics that I face with parents in general. Sleep is a huge issue. You know, I always say, if nobody's getting sleep, that's going to cause everything to be off, right? So we have struggled not so much with our adopted child, but our biological child, who also experienced some major medical trauma in his first 2 years of life. And so he has quite a bit of anxiety issues. And it's fine that you bring this up, because my husband and I were just discussing this today. And we have been working on that towards that as a goal for him to be able to go to sleep on his own and be able to stay on his own through the night. What we found is that it was such a stressful goal for him that we were having major behavioral issues all during the day. And finally, his therapist said to us, does it need to be a goal right now? And we stopped and thought and said, I guess not. I can tell you that for the last, we stopped making that a goal, and he just sleeps with one of us, and the other one of us sleeps in another area, and we are all getting sleep. And he is he's a bed. We're not having the meltdowns and the tantrums during the day. I think because of the elimination of some of the stress that he was feeling, anxiety about the issue. It was at one point he couldn't sleep at all, and we were having to use some medical interventions to help him sleep. So, you know, I tell you this story to say, before I had children, I would have given you absolutes about what you should do and how you should do it. Now I say, you need to take the individual child, individual family situation, and you need to figure out what works for all of you. You know, obviously, if you know about the particular traumas of your child, and it includes sexual abuse, that's going to be a different story. So I just don't think I could sit here and tell you what is right and what's wrong when it comes to sleep. I think that's a very individual choice for all families. And I know that right now it's working for us just to go sleep. And I know a lot of other families that are in that situation. But then there's other families where the parents don't sleep if they're co-sleeping.
Right.
And then that's a problem too.
Yeah. And I would agree with DeAnn. I think that's a really good point. You have to kind of make individual choices based on your child's needs and so forth. At the same time, I guess my approach is more to strive for having that time as a couple, to be able to sleep and rest by yourself and have that time together as well, because it can cause all kinds of marital issues. And then we're opening another bag of worms. What I also found is that what is very helpful is the use of EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, in helping children once they have some attachment. You start with the attachment therapy, but then you also move into the trauma recovery. EMDR, I found, is very, very helpful in that, and much more practical and works quicker. And so that the child then is able to sleep securely by themselves. So I would agree, but I also would encourage, we want to move forward.
Great. Well, and then one thing that I heard too while we were talking was this idea that it almost seems like sometimes there isn't the A or B option, I guess. Like the child either does this or that, like they're either going to sleep here or here. I guess one thing that it triggered with me was I can think we had one child that he was having bedwetting issues, and that was causing disagreements with my wife and I. Like, how should we handle this? We should be getting him up every hour. No, we should just let him sleep, and he'll eventually start doing it. Okay, we got to take him to the doctor. No, we don't need to take him to the doctor. All these other, until it was finally posed to us actually by another foster parent who said, "Did you know you could get free pull-ups at night?" And what we found was a major push for us wanting to get potty training at night and not deal with the trauma or anything else was the budget, actually. Like, it was the pull-ups and the diapers were taking such a drain on our budget at that stage in our life that's. But then once we found about free pull-ups, it was a whole new ballgame, and things quieted down. Do a lot of disagreements, do you think, start that way in foster adoptive parents? If any of that makes sense.
As far as the sleep, I'm sorry, I'm a little lost. Are there
a lot of, I guess, foster adoptive parents are starting to become arguments? They disagree on parenting, thinking we either need to get the child to do A or B. Those are our two choices. When really there's a myriad of choices, like seeking out pull-ups, which we just didn't know about.
A lot of us have difficulty with black and white thinking like that, and there's so much gray in our world, in our life, and there's not usually definitive answers on such things as this. But what I would say is, when I train parents, and my husband and I actually do a full workshop on how to get on the same page. And so because consistently as we coach parents, this is what we find come up over and over again. One parent thinks one way and one the other. We really advocate a similar approach to how we advocate parenting, and a collaborative, a connected, collaborative approach. I don't know if you guys out there are familiar with Dr. Ross Green and his work with collaborative proactive solutions, but I was just meeting with a parent today, I was coaching a parent today, and I was teaching her this method, or model really is what it's called, and it's all based on empathy, connection, and collaboration, recognizing each other's issues and being able to come up with a solution together. And the wonderful thing about this is it works so well in marriage. If we can be empathetic with our partner first and truly listen and be empathetic to what their problem with the situation is, and then be able to share our own, and then to say, hey, is there a way that we could come up with that would address both of these issues? And when we do that, it begins to take away some of the desire to fight about it. We're both parties. What's happening in the brain when that happens is that the brain is flooded with oxytocin when we're truly heard and empathized with, and at that moment we feel a great deal of connection to one another. And then we're able to access the real problem-solving thinking part of our brains, where we can work together to come up with a solution. So, I think the bottom line comes to that. Are we willing to really listen, empathize, share our own feelings? And part of the deal with this model is that it requires you to really think about, what is my problem with this issue? What is it that is important to me? In order for me to share that with my spouse or my partner. And is this something that's just a preference rather than something that's a legitimate issue? So I think that it really is very helpful because what you can do with parenting works really well with marriage as well.
And the last question I have before I'm going to open up to Q&A, you guys, is one of the other biggest things that parents disagree on are tantrums. How do parents need to approach tantrums together as a team? And what advice, I guess, can you give for tackling tantrums?
Now, with tantrums, we really are looking at two different types of tantrums in children with attachment issues. One is the more conscious tantrum, where the child's motivation is more, I'm trying to get some control here. Maybe it could also be, just to give you an example, a difficulty in differentiating what their needs and wants are. They're having a hard time with that, which is very common in children with attachment disorders. And in that case, you want to stay calm. You do not want to reinforce the behavior. It's really, they're more conscious about it. And you want to stay inside, but you kind of, you want to kind of say, if you choose to act this way, as long as they're safe, you just kind of let them do their thing. Now, if they're completely losing it, it's this where it's truly a trigger. They don't even know why they're acting that way. They have this complete meltdown. You've got to handle it a little bit different, and that type of thing can go on for hours sometimes, especially in very traumatized children. You may need to trade out with your spouse. You may need to help each other out, because when you have a child that's screaming like that and maybe thrashing around, you got to make sure that they are safe physically themselves, that they don't destroy the house in the meantime, put holes into walls. I had a 4-year-old little girl that completely destroyed a bathroom.
Wow.
That's how, how much adrenaline they can have in themselves at that time. And I found that you want to be as close as the child will let you be, but there's so much adrenaline and so much energy in them at that point. You just kind of got to bear with it. And then as they're becoming a little bit calmer, to communicate to them, you're safe, you're loved. And as they really, there's almost like a collapse at some point. And if they allow you to hold them and reinforce that, that attachment, and let the pituitary do its thing and release that oxytocin and help them to become calm again, have that attunement, and reinforce that attachment. And I always teach parents too, then the tapping, but that might be a little bit going too far, but that's always very helpful.
Fantastic.
Darren, I'm a birth to 5 parent educator during part of my life, and so I am helping parents with tantrums all the time. Because it is a normal part of development up to a certain age, right? And so then at some point when we start to see, kids having these tantrums at 5 and 6 and beyond, we start to say, okay, what's going on here? But much of our reaction can be much the same, I believe. And so I actually help teach de-escalation skills in our local school that I work with. And I think it's really important to understand what's happening in the brain. And yes, there are times when the brain is completely hijacked by the amygdala, and there are times when there is somewhat connection to reality of what's going on. But either way, we have to remember that our amygdalas that produce that cortisol, that fight, flight, or flight, fight, or freeze, if I can say that, is that that is controlled by the hippocampus. And then the hippocampus, by the way, doesn't really develop until 3 to 4 years of age, where the amygdala develops more like 14 to 18 months of age, fully developed. And so that kind of describes 18 to 3 years old, 18 months to 3 years old right there, is because their amygdalas are in control of their brains. And so you're going to have happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. Well, with kids with trauma, they actually have some damage done to their hippocampus region of their brains. And so it's a confused hippocampus. And it sends out mixed messages to the amygdala. And so what we might not think of as a serious issue absolutely is flooding their brain with cortisol. And so I always tell parents, get down low. In my kindergarten building, oftentimes you'll see me on the floor. I'll just fall down on the floor. Because an adult above, you always think about anybody that's above you is what is considered a threat to the brain. It's just a natural chemical reaction. So we need to get down low. We also need to stop speaking high and fast. That is also seen as a threat to the brain. So we need to speak low and slow. And we need to offer empathy. It seems like it's directly opposed to what most of us were taught to do when there were tantrums. We were taught to walk away and ignore them. Or we made commands and demands on a child. That's not a time to do that. And I think the easiest and best thing to do is to embrace that you don't have to fix the problem in that moment. That's not the moment to teach. That's not the moment to really sit and think and solve problems.
Well, no, if they're dismantling a bathroom, you can't teach anything.
No, absolutely. But see, that is kind of what we've been taught over the years, that if a 2-year-old's having a tantrum, you ignore them. Or you make commands and demands to stop that behavior. I have a lot of parents who even think that, physical punishment at that point is a way to stop a tantrum. These are all things that are adding confusion to our hippocampus areas instead of really teaching the children that it's okay, that they're safe, that they can calm down, that you're empathetic with them. And then once, like Sabine said, that you see that drop where the cortisol begins to subside and the oxytocin is starting to flow, you see as the child returns to a much more, your kid's back. And you can see this wonderful sweet kid is back with you. It's at that point that, that I would offer touch. Because until that point, touch is probably going to be seen as an aggression. And so it's usually at that point that I start to say, would it be okay if I held your hand? Or would it be okay if I gave you a hug? And, we'll talk about this later, and so you can get back to that normal state.
That makes sense.
And DeAnn and I are not saying, I was just reminded of my back then 2-year-old who decided to throw a tantrum. And as she was doing that, she was kind of looking at me, and I was watching her, but she didn't know I was watching her. So she started screaming, and she was watching, and then she decided that wasn't working, so she threw herself on the floor and kicked. And when she realized that wasn't working, she gave it up. She never did it again. That's different. That's a different child. That's a child with a normal attachment. She just tried it out and to see if she could get away with it, and that's
I agree, Sabine, but even in that situation, I don't recommend parents to do that. And the reason why is I really want to encourage parents to teach a child, you're having big feelings. If I walked in having a big feeling with my spouse and he ignored me, I would be extremely hurt by that and confused. So I really encourage parents to go ahead. You're not going to encourage that behavior by doing it. In fact, you're going to be teaching them, hey, someone does care. You're having a big feeling. I love you. But that's not the way we're going to handle big feelings. Here's some other ways we can handle big feelings.
Okay. Appreciate both of you guys' input on that. And I am going to go ahead and going to take some questions. We have people writing into. And I'm not going to say that either one of you have to answer these. I'm just going to, unless they specifically ask. Hold on one second there. Okay. And we should be able to get to at least 3 questions, I think. Here's one. It says, we have a new foster child who is 9 months old. I was always taught to let a baby cry for a bit when putting them down to sleep. But my husband thinks it's different because of her past history. He might have a point. Any advice on this?
Well, in our work with parents as teachers, we don't advise crying it out at all. The research has shown that children who are allowed to cry it out will they have raised cortisol levels, and those even in kids with normal and regular attachment will stop crying because they'll give up. And what we have found is that the more that a mother is in tune and responsive to the baby's needs, actually the amount of crying will decrease. You know, it used to be said, if you respond to the babies crying every time they cry, then they're going to keep crying more and more. But the research just doesn't back that up. It actually says that the more in tune and the more responsive a mother is, actually the less the baby's going to cry. So I just would advise that no matter what the attachment background is, and especially because there has been trauma in this child's life, I would side on the part with your husband to say, yeah, pick that baby up.
Okay. Let me see. I'm running through some questions on here. Okay. Give me some advice here. My wife and I come from 2 different backgrounds. I had a more rural and adventurous upbringing than her, whatever adventurous means. I'm more liable to say yes to letting the kids roll around in the mud outside or riding bikes without helmets. I think she's overprotective, but it does cause a lot of argument. How do we see eye to eye on stuff like this?
You really want to do that before you talk to the kids about it, so that you can start to agree on these issues. You know, and if you can't, it's really very important to get some counseling. Have somebody else come in. I found if a therapist says something, the spouse or the other parent has a much easier time hearing that and accepting that. Sometimes there are just all kinds of additional dynamics flowing into that equation that can mess things up.
Very cool. I'm gonna 2 more here, and I'm gonna ask 1 more, and I'm gonna say again, if you want to get your question in, go ahead and do it on. I'm checking Facebook and Twitter right now, actually. Hashtag #TAdopt, and I'm also getting stuff in on my email at info@transfiguringadoption.com. What do you do when your foster child asks you permission for something, then waits for you to leave the house so they can ask your spouse the same permission in hopes they will say yes? This happens a lot and has really caused some the arguments between my husband and I.
Let me clarify. The child is asking the one parent and getting a no response, and then waiting until that parent leaves and then asking the other. Is that what I'm understanding?
Let me look here again. I mean, they haven't clarified it, but what the foster child asks permission, so let's say the wife, for permission for something, then waits for the wife to leave the house so she can ask the husband the same permission in hopes that
I think this, especially if you know that this is an issue, you need to set up a system of communication so that one spouse knows what the other spouse, because sometimes it gets tough, but you know, with the era of texting, you know.
Oh yeah.
I gave him permission for this. Well, I didn't. And of course, being able to respect the other spouse's decision they've already made.
Yeah, and this problem is not typical just for children who have been adopted, because I know my daughters did that. I would say no to something, and you know, no donuts before dinner, and so they would wait until I had left. So yeah, communication is crucial. That you guys agree.
Well, see, and I'm glad you said that too, because I know for me, I don't have biological children, and so I know I'll just jump in on that and just say that when I'm reading and I'm thinking, wow, that was really sneaky. That's awesome. Like, they're so smart to do that. But I have no frame of reference, so I'm sitting there going, so do biological kids do that to their parents? Like,
oh yeah.
So here's our last one that I'm going to answer, or that I'm going to ask rather. My husband gets upset with me for giving in to tantrums, but I'm a full-time homemaker. Oh, so this sounds a little bit what we were maybe talking about earlier in the show. My husband gets upset with me for giving into tantrums, but I'm a full-time homemaker with an adopted 3-year-old, a biological 2-year-old, and a 6-year-old. I honestly can't take listening to the tantrums all day long. It's easier to just give in sometimes. I feel like my husband is being unfair. How should we talk about this?
Okay, well, there's a few things that we could touch on there. One is that when I talked about giving empathy earlier to the child, that doesn't mean removing the boundary that you have set. No, giving empathy. I get it. You want that candy bar. I know. I want chocolate too. I get it. And it's so hard to wait. But then to say that it's not okay for me to let you have that candy bar right now, sweetheart. So I'm wondering if we can have some apples or some peanut butter instead at this point. So now you're given a choice for them, so they still have some power, and especially with birth to 6-year-old, as she's talking about that, giving them options, some other choice, and oftentimes I think that you can find the empathy that you give a child a little tantrum. I see them cut the tantrums like that, like if not settle the tantrum immediately, begin to decrease them greatly. And so when I see parents actually implement this consistently, they see decreased tantrums in a hurry. So it's not an either or of giving into a tantrum, or paying too much attention to the tantrum, or completely denying the child and having it last for hours. There really can be some middle ground there. And what I mean by that is to say, give them the empathy, understand where they're coming from, give them the words and the language, especially a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old. Help them know what words they want. I see you're angry. I see you're really disappointed. So now we're teaching them the language so they can begin to express those feelings that are so important for them to recognize in themselves and then be able to say it. And then also for them to be able to say, that boundary's not changing, but Mama cares. She's there to help me through it, and she's there to help me make another choice. It's a wise choice. I really think that it doesn't have to be the give in or just put up with the tantrums. I think that there is another way, and I think it's really through empathy and connection that you can see some decreases in those tantrums.
Very cool.
At the same time, I think it's also important to kind of recognize the triggers that are associated with the tantrums. and, you know, get to know your child and what kind of escalates him and what kind of helps him to calm down. Some of those techniques that we have talked about earlier. When we're also talking about a traumatized brain, we're talking about a brain that's a lot in the fight or flight or freeze response. And so just helping that brain overall to just calm down through calm language and so forth, and preparing, and finally, as the last point, preparing children for when they go out, for instance, when you have to take them shopping, and you've got to be careful to not overstimulate a child depending on the level of stimulation that that brain can handle at the time. For instance, my little nephew who was adopted from Haiti, they were coming from Germany, and they were thinking about going to Disney World, and I said, ooh, I don't know about that. You know, there's so much stimulation coming at him, and he has PTSD and attachment issues and all that. You know, but something more calm, you know, and before you go to this new place that you think is so cool for that child, you know, make sure that you talk to him about it or her, that you, you know, prepare them and so forth.
I guess we have 2 minutes. The second half of that question that they were asking about was kind of the component of the wife has been home all day with the children, and the husband, it sounds kind of like a play, like he doesn't understand or is being there. She wanted to know, how do we talk about the fact that she's been with us all day long and then he's, I guess, not feeling. That's what I'm reading anyways.
And I don't quite understand if, you know, if the wife is just worn out and can't deal with it anymore. Or if dad comes in and just maybe needs some additional education as to how to work with children with that background. So education would be really important if that is the case.
Yeah, and it's not staying on here, and I'm not getting any updated feed, so. Okay. I don't know. Well, we'll end it there, you guys. Thank you so much. If you have more questions, or if you want to talk with Sabine or DeAnn and seek out their services, Sabine, how can people get in contact with you if they'd like to talk with you more in a professional setting?
Well, I'm located in Knoxville, Tennessee. I have a website that is knoxcounseling.com. And my email address is drscoggins@counselingconnection.us. That is Dr. Scoggins at counselingconnection.us.
Okay. And DeAnn, how can people get in touch with you and contact you?
You can contact us. You can go to our website at embraceparentsolutions.com. You can also contact us via email at embraceparentsolutions@gmail.com.
Ladies, thank you so much for spending time with us. It's a Friday evening, so I know you could be with your families doing anything else, and you've chosen to spend it with us and give us some information and help us become better parents. So thank you so much. I'm DeAnn. I'm co-founder of Transfiguring Adoption. Again, we're a nonprofit that creates media and resources to nurture growth and foster adoptive families. Join us next month, October 21st, where we're going to have a panel of experts. We're going to be talking about how to prepare for successful holidays. You're not going to want to miss that. Also, you can find more of our resources and tools on our YouTube channel or on our website at transfiguringadoption.com. We hope we've helped you to nurture and grow your foster or adoptive family.